Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you kindly for stopping by. Let me start with my own thoughts first. I'm still enjoying Mario Vargas Llosa. I'm slowing down. It's The Feast of the Goat. Fantastic book. Very powerful indeed. Indictment of dictatorship and all of that. Just a few quotes from Vargas Llosa. Memory is a snare, pure and simple. It alters, it subtly rearranges the past to fit the present. He also says, in order to fabricate, I always need the trampoline of reality. And then the truths that seem most truthful, if you look at them from all sides, if you look at them close up, turn out to be either half-truths or lies, he says. Let's take in the macro thoughts. The US 2-year note is evidently expecting a rate hike of some kind today. Look at this tweet from Holger. This is the spread between 2-year US Treasuries and 2-year German Bund yields. The 2-year German Bund is called the Schatz, and that's hit its highest level since 2007. The movement in 2-year yields is the one that is most sensitive to interest rate expectations. And yesterday, it blew out 8 basis points, which is a signal in the noise of itself. I think Yellen should bite the bullet, pull the trigger. Let's see what turns out. We're going to find out as early as this evening. Political reflections. We're vaccinating the fatherland of a Pinochet, said Nicolas Maduro on Tuesday night. He did not name Lopez directly. Am I a grand Democrat if I let myself be toppled, he said, so that the country ends up like Libya, fractured in chaos, in divisions, with deaths? Then Maduro will be a grand man that deserves all of Washington's praise, he said. Nicolas Maduro is under phenomenal breaking point type pressure. And I tweeted a while back and I said, if the 21st century oil warfare specialist POTUS takes the oil price down to $20 a barrel, I said Maduro will be toast in the blink of an eye. Interesting piece in Global Research, Turkey and its Kurds at war, Erdogan's personal quest for survival. And this is talking about the plight of Cisre, is just the latest and most dramatic episode in a war that the Turkish state has been waging against its own citizens in the Kurdish regions of the country since late July. And I concluded by saying, Turkey was never prepared to give the Kurds more oxygen. And whilst they are very keen on toppling Bashar, they are simply not prepared to give the Kurds any room quid pro quo. Erdogan was, I think, banking on a more adversarial approach to the Kurds, solidifying his core support. I think this was a miscalculation on his part, in point of fact. I saw this tweet, thousands of people are not allowed to enter Cisre, which has been besieged by the Turkish army. Quite an arresting photograph, I think you'll agree. And then there was a big issue with the Erdogan selfie. True or not, I'm not sure, but it caused a furore. President Zuma, blood of refugee crisis is on NATO's hands, he says. President Zuma has become one of the first African leaders to put blame for the devastating African refugee crises on NATO countries, and he is unapologetic about it. They caused it, they must address it, he said. He told a room full of ambassadors, cabinet ministers in the media on Tuesday, called out European countries which he blamed for causing instability in the Northeast African region, for now closing their borders to African refugees. Today, those who are part of destabilizing that part of the world, they don't want to accept the refugees, Zuma said, garnering the nods of ambassadors from many African countries. Let's move on, and I think he has a point. Currency markets, euro 112.58, dollar index must be higher, but earlier was at 95.46, dollar yen 120.36. Swissy, when I looked last, 0.9728. The pound, 153.40. The Aussie, which has been on a little bit of a bounce, coming back now, 0.7154. India rupee 66.485, South Korean 111.7773, Rial 386.42, Egyptian pound 783, and the rand 1348.24. Dollar index, I'll put up a 3-month chart. I think we'll be over 100 by year end on this index. We're in the 95 plus area. Euro dollar, I'll put up a 3-month chart. Last trading here at 112.53. And I think yield differentials will support the dollar, what I was talking about in my macro thoughts at the beginning. Commodity markets, gold, a little bit of a pop, 11.08, but I remain bearish about gold. Crude oil, $45.31. We've been flatlining for a while now around these sorts of levels. Glencore has slumped to a new record low, erasing gains which were achieved when they announced their debt plan. Stock slumped as much as 7.7%, and then was trading 4% lower. That's lower than the 123.15 pence closing price of September the 4th, the trading day prior to Glencore's announcement of the debt reduction plan. Glencore is the world's biggest exporter of power plant coal. The fuel for next year delivery in Northwest Europe dropped 0.5% to $50.65 a metric ton. This is the lowest since at least for 8 years. Jamie McGeever at Reuters tweeted Glencore shares since IPO in May 2011, they've just destroyed value, 77% of it. Jim Rogers, this is interesting, in the Wall Street Journal, is burnishing his credentials as the Indiana Jones of finance by looking to the ultimate frontier, North Korea, apparently. Today, he's anticipating the time when explosive growth arrives in the pariah state of North Korea. If I could put all my money on North Korea, I would, he said on Monday during a visit to the Wall Street Journal. It's where China was in 1980, he says. Sub-Saharan Africa, at least 3 people were wounded at a Congo opposition rally. A protest against perceived attempts by President Kabila to extend his mandate turned violent. This is the government. Unidentified men with wooden batons attacked protesters shortly after opposition leaders began addressing an open-air meeting at a soccer field in Kinshasa at about 2:30 local time. The meeting of more than 1,000 people quickly descended into chaos as some protesters began striking the attackers with chairs, while dozens of others, some with injuries and blood-stained clothes, ran to avoid being hit. Government spokesman Lambert Mendy said the attack was likely perpetrated by supporters of Kabila, angered by the injurious rhetoric of the opposition leaders on stage against the president. He condemned both the attacks and the insults. The pressure continues to build on the streets of Kinshasa. And I take you back to something I wrote on the 10th of November 2014 when I was speaking about Ouagadougou's signal to Sub-Saharan Africa. And I said, we need to ask ourselves, how many people can an incumbent shoot stone cold dead in such a situation? 100, 1,000, 10,000? This is another point. There is a threshold beyond which the incumbent can't go. Where that threshold lies will be discovered in the throes of the event. What's clear, and this applies to Ouagadougou, Kinshasa, is that a very young, very informed, very connected African youth demographic, which many characterize as the demographic dividend, which for beautiful Blaise turned out to be the demographic terminator, is set to alter the existing equilibrium between the rulers and the subjects. And I think Ouagadougou marked the beginning of a rebalancing. Put up a photograph that Vice News tweeted, peaceful DR Congo protest turns into riot after men attack with batons and planks. Interesting article in Bloomberg, crude below $50 throws East Africa's oil projects into doubt. Kenya and Uganda ended months of debate in August to sign an agreement on an oil pipeline costing almost $4 billion. Finding the money to build it and companies to start pumping crude may be a harder task. 1,500-kilometer pipeline, key for exporting the region's crude when production finally begins, 2018 in Uganda's case. With oil prices languishing below $50 a barrel, there's little incentive for companies such as Tullow, Africa Oil, CNOOC and Total to keep investing. The lower oil price has created a great deal more of uncertainty around future oil production, given that additional capital expenditure will be required to make oil production a reality. This is Razia Khan. Just before prices collapsed, oil held great promise for both nations as a way of transforming their mainly agrarian economies and reducing poverty. Oil explorers had assumed prices higher than $80 per barrel when modelling projects, according to a 2015 PricewaterhouseCoopers study on the African oil and gas industry. Brent crude is down 57% since the beginning of June last year and traded as low as $45.98 in London on Tuesday. I said these big oil-based investments are not feasible. Current price structures preclude these big-ticket investments. From Ghana to Angola, the end of the oil boom is destabilizing economies in Africa as revenue slumps and currencies tank. I've been speaking about that severally. The World Bank's IFC pledged last year to invest in the pipeline from a $600 million fund earmarked for regional economic development. Oil investors want to get their investment back. The fact that investors are still interested makes me think that they are still optimistic, maybe less than before, but they're still optimistic. That's the IMF. I'm not convinced that, I think a lot of these projects are now on ice, essentially. The European Union delegation in Maputo yesterday called for a speedy and thorough investigation of the attack against a convoy that was following the Renamo leader Alfonso Dhlakama. Let me put up a photograph of Maputo taken from the sea 1,199 days ago. Zimbabwe's Mugabe reads wrong speech. Opponents question his fitness. The mix-up happened in his secretarial office. Therefore, the delivery in Parliament should be set aside, said his spokesman, George Charamba. But the main opposition party, the MDC, which is critical of Mugabe's long rule, said the blunder called into question his fitness to hold office. Mugabe shows no visible signs of illness, has denied reports that he suffers from prostate cancer, dismissed a fall at Harare Airport on April 4 as a simple slip. This is a historic blunder. Anyone who is still of a sound mind would have quickly picked it up. The speech was the wrong one, said the MDC spokesperson. It dovetails with what we in the MDC have been saying, that Robert Mugabe is no longer fit for purpose. He should resign. And there is a definite sense that is nearing the end here, that the end is nigh. I'll put up a photograph that Reuters Africa tweeted of the president. Listen to this. Sierra Leone's economy is to contract 22% on iron ore and Ebola. For 2015, the economy is very, very weak. Mining activity, especially iron ore, is zero. The economy grew 4.6% last year. However, the leone, which is the local currency, has declined just 9% against the dollar since the start of the year. It's outperformed the rand and the shilling, amongst others. South African all share up 0.25% yesterday, but still down 0.56% year to date. Interesting piece in the Mail and Guardian. After false starts, South African companies finally figure out the secret to success in Kenya. European Union countries led by France and the UK are overwhelmingly the largest investors in Africa, not China. The US is also significant. Even South Africa invests more in the continent than China does. Dollar rand around the 13.45 level. I still think we'll see new lows this year. Egyptian pound 7.83. Egyptian EGX 30 up 0.25% yesterday, but still down 19.616% year to date. The stock market, which had a lot of faith in Sisi, has lost it. It's cash-strapped Nigeria to renegotiate contracts with oil majors. The NNPC said it would overhaul its contracts with companies such as Shell, Chevron, Eni and ExxonMobil in the weeks and months ahead to extract as much benefit as possible for Nigeria. Nigerian all shares down 12.54% year to date. Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index is down 8.29% year to date. Been a tough time for sub-Saharan African stock markets and currencies. Coming to Kenya, there's been a big jump in T-bill rates, and rate on the 91-day issue jumped from 11.5% to 13.9%. Rate on 182-day paper rose from 12.3% to 12.9%. In the 2015-2016 fiscal year, the government has experienced a net redemption in their borrowing of 29.6 billion. And given the current net redemption position, the government is under pressure to finance the budget, hence the reason they are taking expensive money from the market. Treasury is also selling a one-year bond in the market. Money is tight, too tight in my opinion, and squeezing the real economy. Centum doubles its employees' bonus payout to 1 billion shillings. This is a report in the Business Daily. There is a link below that story for Centum share price. It's trading on a trailing PE of 4.933, but they took big one-off, non-repeat profits in their full year profit number that they released. And I think that's why you're getting this price discounted and on a low PE. Kenya shilling, when I came in, was around 105.50, then got as close as 106. And I think we're just below the 106 figure. Let me check. 105.945. Nairobi All Share has rallied 8.457% since the 27th of August, and rallied 1.06% yesterday. NSE 20 rallied 0.38% yesterday. It's up 4.16% since the 27th of August. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights said it has recorded 81 enforced disappearances since 2013. That's not good at all. Once again, wishing you a great day.